All right, you guys, so today we are going to be making these really cool coasters with these ceramic coaster sets that I got from Target. They're $3 each. I found them in the dollar spot. You could definitely use finished tiles from the hardware store and put some little nubbins on the bottom or whatever you want to use, but I just thought these were super cool and I wanted to make something cute with them. So let's go ahead and get started. So these particular tiles are unfinished ceramic. So they are porous, so we're going to have to prep them before we could put epoxy on them. If we don't prep these, the epoxy is just going to seep right into the ceramic and look really bad. If you have regular tiles from the hardware store that are probably already sealed, then you can go ahead and skip this step and just rough up the finish on your tile and then get started. You always want to make sure when you're pouring resin like we're going to do today that we're working on a very level surface. And I'm going to start by spray painting these with some white flat spray paint from Rust-Oleum. I'm going to spray paint a pretty generous coat, and you want to make sure you get those edges as well. After the first coat dried, I did do a second coat, and then I let them dry for about a half hour or so. I did have a space heater to help speed along the process. After spray painting these, I wanted to coat them with Quick Coat from Counterculture. This product is a water-based urethane sealer, and it's going to give us the perfect base for our epoxy to make sure we get a nice, happy coat. So again, since the ceramic was porous, I thought this would be a good idea just to seal the surface and make sure that our epoxy had something good to adhere to. So I'm going to spread this out. This again is just a water-based urethane sealer. You can touch it because it washes right off your hands. It is not epoxy. All right. And it dries really fast. Alternatively, you could probably use like Mod Podge or a polyacrylic or something like that. I just like using this stuff because it dries fast, it has UV protectant in it, and I've used it for a long time now. It's one of my favorite products. All right, so once I got these coated, I let them dry for about a half hour or so, or at least until they were dry to the touch. You don't want to put the stuff on too thick, just a nice light coat is fine. All right, and then once our coasters are all prepped and dry, I'm ready to start the epoxy process. I've got 60 milliliters of epoxy mixed here, and today I'm using Alumilite's Amazing Quick Coat. This is their fast setting epoxy. And you just want to spread on enough to where when you run your finger across the coaster, you can't really feel it underneath. So you don't want too thick of a coat, but you also don't want too thin of a coat. You also want to make sure that you get the edges of your coasters as well. Just kind of run your finger along the edges. You'll notice that I have my coasters up on some cups on top of a parchment papered surface. That's just so we don't get any drips that will stick to the bottom of the coaster or that, we don't make a mess. Okay, so I'm going to spread over my just regular clear epoxy over all my coasters, and then once we've got those coated, we're going to start mixing in our colorants. All right, and we're going to divide up the remainder of our epoxy into 4 different little medicine cups here. Anytime I make projects like this, I like to pick about 4 to 5 different colors, all from different kind of elements. So I like to pick a glitter, a couple of different micas, an epoxy dye, like metallic mica, and then like some loose glitter, and then some alcohol ink. That way I have different textures, different colors, and different interests all going into the look that I'm trying to achieve. All right, so once we've got these divided up, I'm going to mix in our glitter first. Today I'm using Emerald City from Peachy Olive Glitters. This is hands down my favorite green glitter of all time. It's the most beautiful, like deep emerald green. And then for my mica powder, I'm going to be using May from Simply Sarah's Custom Creations, I think it's called. I always get her name mixed up. Simply Sarah's, okay? I'll have a link and a discount code for this down below. This is my favorite green mica. It's like the perfect like hunter green. It's so deep. It's so beautiful. Such a beautiful green color. All right, and then for my metallic mica, I'm going to be using Chrysalis, which is a super sparkly like rose gold, also from Simply Sarah's. This is like a large particle mica, so it gives you a lot of sparkle and like glittery looks to it. Absolutely love it. All right, and then for the black, I'm using Illumilite's Epoxy Dye. This is definitely my favorite epoxy dye. It comes in a bottle. It's easy to use. It lasts forever. I think I've had my white and black epoxy dye for like 2 years now. A little bit goes a long way. So I just put one little drop into that little medicine cup there, and then we're going to mix it in, make sure we have everything evenly distributed. For my alcohol ink, I'm going to use Rainforest Green from the Pinata Exciter Pack. This is just green alcohol ink, and I'm going to spray a few drops into this medicine cup. We're not going to mix anything into this. And then I'm going to get this little cheap little dropper thing. I don't know where I got this from one of my kids' slime kits. But you can find these on Amazon as well. I'll link them. I'm just going to pick up a little bit of that alcohol ink, and that's going to give me some more control on where I place that alcohol ink than if I were to just squirt it out from the bottle. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to lay kind of the groundwork for where I want my little marbling swirl to go through our tiles here. So I'm just going to drop that kind of in the path of where I want all my other colorants to go. And then as soon as I get my alcohol ink dropped on there, I'm going to take a straw and I'm going to blow really, really hard at my ink to fan out the color. And this is going to create some beautiful like lacing and like, I don't know, it's doing something magic. I absolutely love it. So be safe when you do this, you guys. I'm wearing an organic vapor respirator that I take off just to do this step. If you wanted to use computer air spray instead, you can absolutely do that. It just might be a little bit strong for what we're trying to do here. All right, and once we've got our alcohol ink all fanned out, I'm going to start to drizzle in the black epoxy dye. I just want to do kind of some very subtle little lines through this, and then we're going to build up from here. All right, it was also at this point that I got my heat gun out and tried to get a little bit more movement out of that alcohol ink and the dye, see if that did anything. And then I also got my straw back out and did some more blowing to kind of get some more movement and get some more of that effect from my alcohol ink. Next, I drizzled in that really beautiful green glittered epoxy, and I just put that right through kind of the center of those black lines that I created. You guys, when you go for this, like just have fun, like whatever the colors and the textures are telling you and where you want to go. There's no like rules for this at all. Just kind of get into it and have fun. I always go for like a less is more approach because I always think like I can add more, but I can't always take it away. This is that green mica that I'm putting through here. And I'm just kind of, I don't know, like braiding colors through this little swirl situation that we have going down the center of these tiles. Again, you guys can go all over the whole tile, however you want to do it. I just thought this design was really kind of pretty. So I'm trying to wipe off my little mixing stick as I go here. I'm using one of those stainless steel coffee stirrers, and it's the same stick that I use to stir in my colorants. Is the same thing I'm using to kind of drizzle these colors through. If you want to spread out your color, you can kind of let gravity do some of the work by like shifting your tiles around. You can get your straw back out and play with that. I was just kind of like improvising at this point, to be honest with you, and experimenting with how things work together. And then I got out my heat gun and I started to kind of blow some heat on those micas. And something really beautiful happens when you put heat on that mica powder. It just blooms. And I think by doing the alcohol ink, the epoxy dye, and the mica, they kind of just dance together under the heat and create something really beautiful. I absolutely love it. All right, and then lastly, I'm going to drizzle in this Chrysalis mica. This is that beautiful sparkly rose gold stuff. I wanted to do this rose gold mica last after I put on all the heat and the fanning with the other colorants, because I wanted to keep the fine lines that happen when I just kind of drizzle it through like I'm doing right now. All right, so after this point, I didn't put any more heat on my project really, except for my torch, which I did at the very end. All right, and if you have any boo-boos like I had here, I just scooped it out with a silicone brush. And if you have any clear epoxy left over, you can just go back over that little section there if you need to. But it's not a big deal because we are going to do another clear coat over this later. To finish off my look, I am going to sprinkle in some copper glitter. This is a chunky copper glitter from Peachy Olive Glitters. It's called Vintage. It's definitely one of my favorite colors. All right, and then once we're all done with our design, I'm going to put this in a safe place that's both level and protected from dust and debris. I'm going to let these dry for about 2 hours before I move on to the next step. Remember, I am using a fast setting epoxy, so your dry time may vary based on the type of epoxy you're using. All right, so here's my coasters after about 2 hours. You'll notice from the last clip that alcohol ink was like a weird blue color, but when it dried, it turned into this gorgeous like jade emerald green that I'm so thrilled with. So I'm really happy with how these turned out. We're gonna put a final coat of epoxy on here just to give them that smooth kind of professional finish, and everything looks nice and protected. I am using Amazing Clear Cast Plus, which has the enhanced UV stabilizer, so it's going to keep the bright white on those coasters for a very long time. You'll also notice the purple ones that I made, and I made those using the same exact process as the green ones. I just used different colors. And if you're interested in what colors I used for those, I will have those listed and linked down below in the description box. Now, this Amazing Clear Cast Plus does take quite a bit of time to dry, so I've got to wait for a full day before I can mess around with these, and I do want to let them sit for a full 72 hours before I gift them to make sure that they're fully cured. All right, so that's it for this tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and if you like this video, please be sure to give us a big thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button so you don't miss a new video. I upload every Wednesday and Saturday. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys again soon. And a big thank you to all of our Flynn Sisters exclusive members. Thank you for your pledge. Your support means the world to our channel. If you love this video, you could check out our last video here. Also be sure to find us on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and of course subscribe for all our new videos that come out every Wednesday and Saturday. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon.